Bass, Alabama is where I was born and raised. And I've been listening to all these people tell stories and do interviews about Dogman. Somehow, in every story and every encounter, they have them painted as the bad guy in these evil beings. Now, that's something I know for a fact not to be true. Understand, if you run into one of them while they're hungry, or you piss them off, yeah, they're a bit evil and vengeable. But truthfully, if you see a 12-foot tall walking wolf and decide that it's in your best interest to fuck with it, as my Uncle Duffy would say, your ass gotta pay the bill, cause your wallet ain't got no money. I had my first Dogman encounter on Uncle Duffy's property near the Tennessee border when I was 17 years old. Duffy told me I could hunt the land, but if I found myself in the area where there were old hollowed out trees, no matter how big the deer was, don't shoot it and leave the area immediately. And that was the second time my Uncle Duffy mentioned to me the beast of the hollow trees. The first time he mentioned the beast of the hollow trees, he was sharing a story with me about how he went hunting and he was over in that area and he took a deer. He's tracking the deer down and goes into this area of his property with these huge, massive, hollowed out trees. And as he's moving along, out steps this gigantic, upright walking wolf. Uncle Duffy said it had to be 13 feet tall. And the only reason why he was able to escape that situation was because he noticed that wolf was eyeballing his rifle. So he laid it on the ground, put his hands up in the air, and backed out of there, and then let him be. Well, I'm 17 years old, young, dumb, full of cum. I'm out there and I see a 5-point buck. So I take the shot. And now I'm tracking him down. Now, in the back of my mind, the whole hollow tree incident is there, but I have been out a couple of times and I never ran into no area with no hollow trees. And that was until that day, because I followed the blood trail of that deer and it led me straight into this area of the woods with these massive trees. The trunk of these trees were literally the size of an 18-wheeler big rig. However, from the angle that I'm walking, I can't tell that they're hollowed out inside. So I keep walking. I'm not directly in the midst of these trees. I'm kind of on the outskirts of them. They're to my right. I'm walking in the woods to the left of them. I have been moving along about another 40 or 50 yards through those woods, and my vantage point changed, and I can now see that these gigantic ass trees are hollowed out. And I'm saying to myself, oh shit, I am in the wrong area. Now mind you, part of me did not believe what Uncle Duffy said about the beast of the hollowed out trees. Mainly because Uncle Duffy made moonshine and he would get a little too drunk on his own damn moonshine. However, finding myself facing the reality that at least the trees do exist and not wanting to take a chance of running into the beast, I say to myself, you know what? We're going to have to chalk this deer up as a loss and get the hell out of here. I'm not sure if it was there watching me the whole time or if it just moved in silence and came up on me, but I hear movement ahead of me. And you know how your eyes have to adjust to the woods, like to the foliage, the trees, the leaves, the colors, the sunlight patterns that are coming through. Well, when I hear movement, my eyes lock in that direction and I can see what probably or possibly had already been there and I just hadn't recognized it. It's hard to explain that part, but boy, once you see, you can never, ever unsee something like this, because it's a rib cage. That's what my eyes see, a rib cage through the foliage. Standing there, you can see it inflate and deflate with every breath. At 17 years old, I'm 6'2". That rib cage was above my head, 6'7". And when my eyes trace upward, I see the head, good God Almighty. Now, I've heard everybody's description of Dogman, but the beast of the hollow trees, I know exactly what it looks like. Because when I first saw the movie Underworld, I said to myself, these people in Hollywood must have traveled to Alabama to take photos or to model the werewolf after this thing. Because it looks exactly like the wolf in the Underworld, the brother who was locked in the cage. Remember that long snout, those piercing yellow eyes. It looked exactly like him, but it wasn't white. It was black and gray. Now listen, I don't mean to harp on this, but I think it's important for anybody who spends significant amount of time out in the woods that you understand this. Your eyes have to be able to register this, because they can be right there in front of you and you won't see them. But once my eyes actually registered what I was seeing, I ain't gonna lie, the panic kicked in. And I remember what my Uncle Duffy told me in that story about how he saw the beast and how he laid the rifle down. Understand, this thing is about 40 yards away from me. It's close enough that if it wanted to run after me and get me, it could. And judging by the size of what I was seeing, my little rifle wasn't about to do anything. So it left me no other choice but to raise the rifle in the air and say out loud, "Hey, listen, I'm sorry. I did not mean to trespass on your land." And I laid that rifle down and slowly, when I say slowly, slowly backed out of there, keeping my eyes on it. Now, when I get back to Uncle Duffy's house and I walk in without my rifle, he immediately knew what the hell happened. But I go on and explain it all to him anyway. And that was the last time I was allowed to hunt his land. He said he couldn't take the risk of someone provoking it and it attacking our bloodline again. When I asked him what he meant by risk and attacking our bloodline again, he refused to talk about it. Time passed. When I was 23 years old, my Uncle Duffy passed away. Why? Because moonshine turns out not to be too good for your liver and your kidneys. I never got an understanding of what he meant, but his property is still in the family. And when I asked my parents about going there to hunt it, they said it was in his will that no one in the family could hunt his land. He didn't even want you taking shots at deers through the windows. As of today, my cousin lives there, and he does nothing but drink beer and watch TV. I don't even know if he understands what the hell lives on that property.